Let me start this story off. A couple weeks ago, I was sitting in my bed scrolling Twitter, as one does, and I saw this weird video. And it was a guy in Minecraft, and he said, in Parkour Civilization, no one jumps for the beef. It's always better to jump for the chicken instead of risking your life for a half of hunger bar extra. And I didn't understand what that meant at all. I literally did not get it. But after learning more and after seeing more of this Parkour Civilization, I soon realized that this was a movie that a man named Evbo released. And I guess movie is a weird way of putting it. It's more like episodes that were compressed into a movie last year, I think sometime in December, if I'm getting the time correct. So for some reason, 8 months later, it's been getting a lot more popular. And this whole Parkour Civilization trend just blew up for some unknown reason. The internet is weird. I feel like the internet just... anybody could be popular on the internet. Anybody could do anything on the internet and you'd still find an audience. So I decided yesterday, that I was just going to sit down and watch this Parkour Civilization to see what all the hype is about. See why people are so fascinated by jumping for the beef or jumping for the chicken. And let me tell you, after watching Parkour Civilization, I can safely say that this movie is peak cinema. This is quite possibly the best movie that has released in the past decade. And it will probably be the best movie that's ever been released since until 2030. This movie is on the level of Lord of the Rings. That's what I'm going to put. On the entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings, Parkour Civilization is on that level. Any movie that's made billions of dollars in the box office, Avengers Endgame, Avatar, The Lord of the... Any movie you could possibly think of, Parkour Civilization does it and does it better. I'm going to talk about this movie and I'm going to explain why I think this movie is genuinely the best movie I've watched within the last 5 years. Now, I will say, I think everybody should watch this movie on their own. Don't let me spoil it for you. I will leave a link in the description. Go watch Parkour Civilization on your own. This movie is quite literally the best movie in the world. And I'm not even exaggerating. It is extremely fucking good. I'm not joking. I was literally on the edge of my seat for 90% of the movie. It was so good. Now, okay, let me start by saying what I like about the movie, and then I'll get into some more spoiler heavy details. So basically, this is the simple premise of Parkour Civilization is it's a very Maze Runner / Hunger Games style movie where there is a social class system where you're either a parkour noob, a parkour pro, and beyond. Where the parkour noobs, this is where the whole you jump for the beef or you jump for the chicken thing came from. Parkour noobs have the parkour pros coming down to their level and saying, hey, every day you gotta jump for the beef or jump for the chicken. And if you fall, you die. And that's it. So I think that's honestly I've always loved Maze Runner. I think Maze Runner is it's not my favorite book of all time, but reading Maze Runner back when I was in school, that was amazing. I loved Maze Runner. Maze Runner is super fucking good. I think I watched the movie at some point. I don't know if I watched the movie. I know I really enjoyed the books of Maze Runner. So the idea of a civilization that's all the way at the bottom of the social class, and then you have people from the top coming down and forcing the people at the bottom to do stuff. I think it's cool. It's very dystopian, and I love the dystopia identity of some things like Hunger Games or Maze Runner. So I love dystopia societies. I think those are cool. So the premise of the movie is a person named Evbo trying to rank up in the parkour society, where he's trying to become the parkour master. And throughout the movie, you see him basically go through this change where he actually does just straight up get better at parkour. He doesn't start off with some amazing parkour power or some amazing prowess. All he knows how to do is a 1-block jump and this is gonna come into play in the later on in the movie. He knows how to do a 360 jump, which is honestly just so cool. It's not some sort of hidden power he was given as a child. No, he had to work his way up from the bottom. And that is just honestly so amazing. Movies usually have this sort of hidden power or some sort of secret identity that the main character has, and then he unlocks it at the later end of the movie. In this movie, Evbo is at the bottom, like truly at the bottom. He only knows how to do his signature thing, and then he learns everything else from parkouring itself, which really like solidifies the fact that you could literally do anything with parkour as long as you practice and you try hard enough. So basically, how the movie goes is Evbo wants to rank up in the parkour society. One day he has his jump for the chicken, jump for the beef. He decides that he wants to take the jump for the beef because he learns that there's a ticket event going on. He jumps for the beef, gets the beef, goes to the ticket event, does the ticket event, which honestly there's another like cool little detail where in parkour society you can bribe like hire like parkour pros by doing parkour, which is why his 360 jump is so impressive, because it's able to impress basically anybody throughout the movie. That's how impressive a 360 jump is, and he does different iterations of the 360. It's so good. It's genuinely on the levels of like fucking Pain versus Naruto. Like it's so cool, man. This is like Gojo versus Sukuna. You know what I mean? It's hype, super fucking hype, especially when he pulls out some of like the later jumps. It's insane to me, bro. Anyways, he grabs a ticket, he goes over to the Parkour Temple, which is like the place where you rank up. You have to have a ticket to enter the Parkour Temple, and then once you're in the Parkour Temple, you do a parkour course to get to the next level, basically. When Evbo tries to do the Parkour Temple for the first time, he ends up falling to the ground, or falling to the void, I should say. And in the void, which is another cool feature, I guess, or like part of the movie, there's a parkour prison where when you fall down, you fall into the prison and you don't just like instantly die. You fall into the prison where you have to stay there for 50 years before you get let out, or you can just leave immediately, but you're never allowed to pick up a parkour ticket ever again. Which I think that's also another interesting part, where it's not just like forced imprisonment. You can leave, but you'll never be able to rank up ever again. I think that's a cool, interesting detail. So Evbo decides that he wants to leave the parkour prison. He's never allowed to get a ticket again. And during that time, he loses his house to another parkour noob. So at that time, Evbo has to buy another house. He buys a wooden house, and in the wooden house is like a secret room or a secret compartment with an old man who tells Evbo that he has to save parkour civilization. And this really sets like the tone for the rest of the movie. This is like a very dictatorship sort of dystopia like level movie where the parkour master at the top is basically controlling everybody beneath him. And it's a really bad situation that Evbo has to save because he wants to become the parkour master. So it's not like he's just taking some random side quest from an old man. The quest basically aligns. The old man wants Evbo to take down the current parkour master in order to save parkour society. Evbo wants to become the parkour master anyway. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal. It's really good. I can't speak enough about it. Throughout the movie, we see Evbo learn different parkour strategies. We see him fall. We see him lose. It's not like just some sort of main character syndrome where he just wins everything. He does have these moments of like clarity, and he realizes, I have to be better at parkour if I want to become the best at parkour. You know what I mean? So honestly, one of my favorite parts was after Evbo did the set. Basically, how it happened is the old man told Evbo about a impossible jump within the parkour temple to get to the next level, to become a parkour pro. And then he also told Evbo about a ticket that the parkour old man hid. So Evbo goes to grab the ticket. It was really far away. He had to bribe a guard that was guarding like a section to get to the outskirts of parkour civilization. He found the ticket. He came back. The old man also gives Evbo a barrier block to help him with this impossible jump in the parkour temple. Now the jump is just a simple three block jump, but I think it's interesting because in parkour civilization, the lower you are, the less resources you have. So as a parkour noob, you only get 3 bars of hunger and you get 1 piece of raw food per day, you know? So you can't do a 3-block jump with no sprint. You have to be able to sprint to do a 3-block jump. So that's why it's impossible. But because he got the barrier block, he was able to do a 2-block jump, which is possible with no sprint. So I think it's also interesting how Evbo does the movie. I think that's like super interesting, using all of Minecraft's like actual parkour mechanics to like structure his movie around. I think that's super interesting. Anyways, Evbo becomes a parkour pro. He realizes that being a parkour pro isn't all that it's cracked up to be, and there's levels above being a parkour pro, which is why I said before, like, you know, parkour and beyond. So Evbo realizes that being a parkour pro, it's not all too special. As a parkour pro, you are the person doing all of the work. Every day he has to get up, he has to go do a task, and if he doesn't do the task, he gets punishment by a parkour master, which is like the level above a parkour pro. So my favorite moment, probably my favorite moment in the movie, is because one day Evbo decided that he doesn't want to do his task. It was like one of his first days as a parkour pro. He decided, I'm not gonna do my task today. Then, out of nowhere, he gets a signal, and he tells all the parkour pros to line up because they have to find out who didn't do their task. Which, by the way, let me say, that's very like Hunger Games-esque. I feel like I remember a couple scenes where it's, you know, higher ups in the Hunger Games searching for someone specific in the lower caste. But anyways, a parkour master comes down with a water bucket, which will come into play later on in the movie. Parkour master comes down with the water bucket. He finds out Evbo didn't do his task, and then he challenges him to a parkour battle, which is honestly some of the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it's interesting to me. Basically, how the parkour battle works is you have to create your own parkour jump, and if your opponent can match that jump, then you move on to the next round. But if your opponent can't match that jump, they take damage. So it's basically like a game of horse, but for parkour. If you've ever played horse or shoot or whatever you call it in basketball, you take a shot. If the opponent can match the shot, you move on. If the opponent can't, they gain a letter. Basically the same thing, but instead, in this case, it's parkour. And that was so hype, bro. I can't even begin to describe how hype that was. Like I said before, this shit it was actually on the level of like Goku versus Jiren or something insane like that. Like, it's Evbo just getting his ass just absolutely blasted by this parkour master. And the parkour master is bringing out some like insane tech that Evbo's never even seen before because he's only spent a couple days as a parkour pro. He just unlocked the ability to earn sprint. So it gets to the point where Evbo is like, he's at one, like, I think he was at 2 bars of HP left. The parkour master's next attack is going to kill Evbo, sending him back down to the parkour noob level. So Evbo has to figure out something that the parkour master doesn't know. And that thing is the 360 jump. Insane development right there. We just thought the 360 jump was just something Evbo used just to bribe the guards in the parkour prison, bribe the parkour pros at the top of the or at the parkour noob level. But the 360 jump, that is something that only Evbo knows how to do. And it's insane, like, just design of the character. It shows that Evbo is unique, but not in the way that most movies and shows portray main characters. He's unique in the way to himself, which is so interesting to me. That was honestly, that parkour battle between Evbo and the parkour master, that was one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. So I'm not gonna go over through the full movie, because I think everybody watching this video should watch Parkour Civilization on their own. It is genuinely that fucking good. I'm not even joking. It's that good. Everybody who hasn't seen Parkour Civilization, you should watch it on your own. I'm not gonna spoil anything else. I just wanted to go over my favorite part of the movie because I really enjoyed it, like heavily enjoyed it. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think about Parkour Civilization, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.